Soujuuro slipped between the trees encircling the mansion and walked down the naturally tree-lined avenue that led him to the front door.
Yoshi.
Taking a deep breath, he stepped across the threshold. The drawing room was where he expected to find Alice. However, he found himself face to face with a most unexpected scene. A few steps in, he arrived at the large foyer extending into the mansion's
entrance.
Wow. Wow! Wow, brain! I read mountain's interior.
Wow, okay.
Oh, God, I'm broken. But one thing was clearly out of place. The foyer of the mansion was like a hall in a medieval castle.
Right.
It was illuminated by the cold winter sun casting down through the skylight unaided by artificial light. The wooden tiles smelled of the outdoors. And there was Alice, dressed all in black, huddled against a column so enormous it resembled a sharply cornered tree trunk. The mansion was quite literally supporting her frail body. Like a mother's lullaby or a gently rocking cradle.
Huh.
The heavy atmosphere within this old building suppressed even the slightest stir, almost as if warding away any disturbance to her slumber. There she slept in the shadows of home. Hidden away from outsiders, her sleeping figure was enough to mesmerize anyone who laid eyes on her. Because, as we've established, she is like the hottest thing ever, and everybody wants to bang her.
Well,
literally everyone. Soujuuro instinctively looked up at the ceiling out of sheer awkwardness.
Yeah.
He wanted to surprise her, but not this way.
Right.
Her slender frame lay asleep by the fireplace. The scene was as beautiful as a painting, yet hard on the heart at the same time.
Hard on his heart.
That too. Her slumber seemed breathless.
Like she's unconscious?
On second thought, she wasn't breathing. She might be dead. She was too still, with not even a hint of movement. And yet, slumped against that frigid column under the cold winter sky, happiness appeared to be her blanket. A passerby would not be blamed for thinking she was in the most peaceful state of eternal slumber. Death.
Huh. That still, huh?
You know what she probably needs right now? A hug.
I was going to say a blanket, but okay.
It's kind of like, a hug is kind of like a blanket, just without the actual blanket. Soujuuro spoke to himself as he gazed idly upon her. Bringing her a blanket or something more didn't seem so much as cross...
Did not
cross the boy's mind. Okay. Instead, odd as it sounds, the first thing he thought to do was go prepare some tea. And then dip her finger in it. He made sure to be as quiet as possible as he opened the drawing room door, which is evidently where they keep the tea.
Yeah, I guess so.
I would have thought keeping the tea in the kitchen would be a more sensible thing. No, whatever. On the table, waiting for him, were 3 pills. They were the medicine Aoko required him to take every day when he arrived home. Gulping down the vaguely sweet pills and continuing on to the kitchen, he selected a box of tea from among the many in the cabinet. Okay, it is in the kitchen. That makes more sense.
Okay.
And brewed enough for 2 people. Just Aoko leaves his drugs out in the...
Yeah,
in the
definitely not tampered with.
Alice was still asleep when he returned to the foyer. Careful not to make any noise, he crouched close to the ground. He was startled by how cold the floor felt through his pants. He thought it would be warmer here by the fireplace, but then again he recalled how Aoko had referred to it as a useless hole in the wall. What was likely the case was that neither she nor Alice knew how to use it properly.
Oh.
Soujuuro, on the other hand, knew exactly how to make fire.
Wow, he just set out the whole tea set next to her.
After taking the teacups from the tray and placing one in front of each of them, Soujuuro carefully pulled his textbook on classical literature from his satchel. He also acquired cookies from somewhere.
The kitchen, probably.
And before, they're not actually cookies, they're chocolates, and they're actually her familiars that he's brought out on a tray.
Well.
He could still see her angry face from this morning. The reason for her anger was still as much a mystery as the unusual look he saw briefly come across her face. In any case, one thing was certain. He needed to start studying for tomorrow. Thanks to Aoko's instruction, today's exams went well enough, but tomorrow's would be an even more formidable challenge. He would have to stay up all night for 2 nights in a row to even have a chance.
It would be difficult.
After how angry she was this morning, he couldn't expect her to help him again tonight.
Oh. Well, she's student council president. She can't just have students go failing.
Okay, so that's back to making more sense now. There was an image a little while ago when he was coming back up the hill. Where it sure looked like they had him in a black suit for some reason.
Oh, yeah, it was a black jacket. His overcoat.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It threw me off because he was supposed to be in his school uniform.
Right, but it's cold, so he had the overcoat on.
Did they just miscolor his uniform?
No.
Like, what happened? He complained under his breath as he cracked open his textbook. Apparently, he intended to spend his time in this fashion until Alice finally awoke.
Well, that's how he's gonna get his chance to talk to her, I guess.
The sound of the pages turning was the only audible noise in the grand hall. There was no ticking of clocks or rustling of leaves to disturb her sleep. After a few hours, Soujuuro quietly rose to his feet, wondering why the hell the student council meeting was taking literal hours. The light that filled the foyer was beginning to turn from white to red.
Oh, wow, did he just miss his chance? Completely?
He glanced again at Alice as he stretched his stiff back. The tea was cold.
Probably after a few hours, yeah.
She slept in perfect stillness, just as she had this entire time.
Did you check for a pulse?
Check his pulse, Yugi. Soujuuro arched his brow in speculation. He had no idea what her normal sleeping schedule was like, so he had no idea as to whether he should wake her.
Yeah, Aoko's definitely not going to draw on her face.
Yeah, right? Or dip her hand in the cold tea and walk away.
Right.
As if reaching the end of a long train of thought, Soujuuro gave a quick nod of his head and took his leave of the mansion. Today, work was a shift at the Chinese restaurant in Misaki's shopping district, the Mad Bear.
Weird name for a restaurant.
That is a weird name for a Chinese restaurant, especially. It does kind of sound to me like some kind of like southern like good eats diner, like, you know, the kind of place that you go into and it's like a little mom and pop run place, but like
I'm wondering if there's like some kanji thing, like it's using kanji that's mostly used in China or something like that, some shared characters, but
their uniforms had been made by someone with an obvious preference for garish colors. The orange apron was emblazoned with a cartoonish polar bear slashing a walk in two with its powerful claws.
Wow.
The design resembled warning signs about wild animals seen in the mountains and stood out in Misaki for its one-of-a-kind originality.
Alright.
This was the Chinese restaurant, the Mad Bear. Aside from its name and logo, the restaurant was the type of cheap, hole-in-the-wall dive that could be found anywhere. The kind of place that makes, like, the best Chinese.
Well, yeah, it depends.
The more like a dive a Chinese place looks, generally speaking, the better it is.
Depends.
It faced competition from the ever-increasing number of chain restaurants, though it had managed to last longer than any other dining spots, having received rave reviews on a regular basis. Unlike that place down the street that did the liquor that got run out of business by a huge department store,
right,
and then their daughter spontaneously died. The Mad Bear prioritized the personal touch. focusing on its local clientele, and thus made a point to offer home delivery, except to one particular building,
Well,
where they
yes.
required at least 2 orders, soon to be 3.
Right.
It had earned the affectionate moniker KQS, the Quick Killer Stop.
Oh. QKS? Huh. Because it's fast and good?
Did I say KQS?
Yeah. QKS.
Yeah. Making these deliveries was Soujuuro's responsibility for the time being. Places in Misaki within cycling distance fell under his domain. Anything beyond that was handled by a more experienced staff member on the legendary 50cc King Salmon motorbike. But anyway.
Oh, King Salmon. Oh, what'd he tell you?
Oh,
Is it about a girl?
when delivery workers weren't out on deliveries, they spent their shift bussing tables or washing dishes. Dishes, you know.
What were you thinking?
I thought it said clients for a second.
What? No.
It's like secretly also a soap land.
No. Not that kind of restaurant.
Come in for some Chinese and bathing. The dinner rush was yet to come, and Soujuuro had his fellow delivery boys were shooting the breeze while washing dishes in the back.
I'm totally listening to you, man.
The two were elbow deep in a giant sink as they enthusiastically scrubbed.
Enthusiastically, yeah.
At least
okay.
that was what they pretended to do while they gossiped.
Yeah.
和食のケニアだけじゃねえんだってよ。三崎町の大帝都にもメシアンにもその手の注文があったらしいぜ。
Imperial Metropolis.
The Kenya, huh?
Messian. Messian? Huh.
そ
Okay.
んなに肉が欲しいなら下市に行けばいいのにな。なんだって生肉だの大物の鮭丸ごとだのを出前させやがるのか。
Raw meat and an entire salmon?
That is weird.
こう露骨にヤバそうな話じゃね。
Oh,
ワニ
there
とかアザラ
definitely
シでも飼
is.
ってるんじゃねえかなそいつ。
他に比べてみると
Salmon.
確かに珍しい話だと思う。ところで木の実
Also, what's an alligator?
Oh,
It's like a bear,
in the
but
water.
in the water.
Yeah.
ワニはワニだろう。だっせ実物見たこと
Why
ない
would he
の
have
かよ。
seen one?
まあ俺もねえけどな。
I mean, I've not seen one either, and I know what an alligator is.
I mean, I've seen them, but like in Florida mostly.
I don't think I saw any when I was down in Florida.
Wow,
I mean, I've
that's...
seen them on TV, but that doesn't count.
You went to Florida? You didn't see an alligator?
No, we were like in a hotel the whole time. It was like one of the most unfortunate Thanksgiving breaks of my life.
Oh.
It was while we were in college, and I had little Steve and I had a project that we were supposed to be working on,
Sure.
and it was due like right after Thanksgiving, but it was assigned like right before Thanksgiving because fuck you, that's why.
Oh, that sucks.
And so my aunt had some kind of conference that she was doing down Florida, place called Marco Island, and so it was decided that we were going to go down there and just kind of hang out over Thanksgiving for the
For the break.
yeah.
But you had that project to do, huh?
I did, and my
Oh.
sister also had schoolwork.
Wow.
So we get there. It's a very nice hotel, and they did this really miraculous thing where, like, literally overnight, it went from Thanksgiving decorations to Christmas trees everywhere the following morning, like just
Whoa.
overnight.
That's some good work.
Really impressive. But we got there and we discovered the hotel had Wi-Fi.
Uh-huh.
This was a conference center, mind you,
Oh, yeah.
like hotel conference center. They had Wi-Fi, but it was paid only.
Oh.
And we're like, well, we kind of have to have that to do, schoolwork.
Yeah.
So, thankfully, our aunt ended up paying for it, but
Wow.
it was fine. We had We had the Wi-Fi, but we also didn't get to enjoy any of the time there at all because we were both too busy working on schoolwork.
That
Like the
sucks.
most, there was a beach that was evidently very quite nice, according to my parents. But the most we saw of it was going down there because there was a pizza place like right near the beach where we went and just grabbed pizza for lunch.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was like, all right, well, I guess we're just gonna have pizza and take it back to the room. And meanwhile, the whole time, I was like, oh, why aren't you guys enjoying the beach? Because we have to do school.
Yeah. Wow.
Shut up and let us school. Yeah. So
Well-
no, I didn't get to see shit. I was in Florida, but I didn't get. And the only other time I was there, I was in 4th grade, and we did a Disney trip. No, 8th grade. Sorry, 4th grade was Toronto.
Oh, I was gonna say I saw alligators at Disney, so they're there.
I mean, we did Magic Kingdom, or Animal Kingdom, rather.
Oh.
But we were all miserable that day because it was like 98 and 100% humidity, and all any of us wanted to do was stay at the hotel pool, and the chaperones were like, no, we gotta go to Animal Kingdom, everybody get in the bus. Kill me.
So maybe there were alligators there and you just didn't see them.
Possibly. I wouldn't be surprised, but I was too busy dying of heat stroke to care.
That makes sense.
It was like, oh good, a lion. I haven't seen that at the local zoo before. Can we go back to the hotel and get in the pool now?
今度ガクガク動物ランドのアフリカ特集ビデオを貸してやるから見とけよ。
Oh, right, his VHS tape.
Nah, you want the one on Australia, man. Everything there is giant and wants to kill you. This was a familiar pattern of conversation between the two, especially now Kinomi was used to Soujuuro's lack of general knowledge. By the way, what's a tape?
Yeah, I think he's seen a VCR before.
Their banter was interrupted by the delivery phone. The manager snapped up the receiver and quickly jotted down the order and address. Once he hung up, everyone in the kitchen did their best to avoid making eye contact. Nobody wanted to go rushing out for a delivery on such a cold
静
day.
君ちょっと遠いけど
How far?
Like up a mountain. The manager singled Soujuuro out for the task, seemingly unfazed by his staff's
はい
laziness.
これ
Yeah, he's used to it.
リスト
Unusual. Oh boy.
It's like some raw meat and an entire salmon.
A whole uncooked chicken.
The manager tore the sheet with the order and address written on it from his memo pad. Soujuuro took one look at it before a grimace quietly spread across his face.
マネージャー
なんだい
The manager stared right back at him as if he could tell what it was he wanted to
君
say.
の疑問はもっともだしかしな長いことこの商売をやっていると時にはこんなバカな話が転がってくる
Far from the strangest, huh?
じゃ冷蔵庫から品物持ってくるから
Soujuuro stared in admiration as the manager, dressed in black, marched out of the kitchen in his all-business way. Nowhere was free from the odd occurrence now and then. Well, if only he could have been in
Cold
nowhere
storage,
then.
huh?
Yeah, it's where they keep the dead bodies.
Oh yeah, there's his overcoat. Oh.
And not dead! It was after 10 at night. Soujuuro had taken a small detour on his way home from work and now faced an outraged Aoko, as expected, who honestly was just relieved he wasn't deceased. Seeing her so visibly irritated made him feel a rush of relief. He didn't know why she was angry, but he could tell it was a different type of anger than what he saw earlier that morning.
遅いってまだ10時
It's
になったばか
only a
りだろ
little after 10.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fine.
He set down the cardboard box he'd been carrying in his arms and glanced toward the fireplace. The sleeping girl was there no more.
違うわ。もう10時になったの間違いでしょ。
He got home at like midnight the other night. What do you care?
あんたってほんと
I think maybe she
自分
didn't
が
know
どんな
about
状態
that.
にあるか分かってないのね。 いいから今に来て。
Is it because Alice rolled over and crushed the tea set?
Is it because Alice now has a thing for him because he brought her tea?
That would be funny.
Like, that's all it took. She's like, he brought me tea. He's my new favorite person. She walked briskly to the other room without pausing, leaving Soujuuro standing in confusion, head tilted to one side. He proceeded to pick his box back up and follow after her eagerly.
Yeah, he's just carrying a cardboard box.